Hi guys, so I thought it was about time for a little channel update because I know I haven't updated in must be nearly 2 weeks now at least, and I have a lot of stuff to catch up with on my channel to upload. Just at Christmas and New Year, I knew they were going to be quite stressful, I knew I was going to be quite anxious about a lot of stuff because obviously we had my flatmate's parents were over, they were staying over Christmas and New Year, and me being me with my OCDs and my anxieties and like being in my own little world is like my safe zone, and I'm not used to having people or company in that safe zone. So I found it hard, although they're such lovely people and they love me to bits and I love them to bits, but it was still just so hard for me to try and adapt to having people in my comfort zone. And a lot of normal, and I use that term lightly in today's society, but a lot of normal people don't really understand a lot of my OCDs and my little rituals and why I have to have my separate cutlery and stuff that no one's allowed to use, and I only eat certain foods and stuff like that, and I don't eat meals or anything, and I don't like to eat with other people. I like to wait till everyone's finished and do it on my own, and they didn't have an issue with that, but I did, because I'm like, I wish I could just be normal and not so awkward, but what is normal anymore? That's the thing. I don't think there is any proper definition for that word anymore, not in today's world, but I'll put it more socially adaptive then, if that's a better way to put it. I wish I could be more like that sometimes, as much as I embrace my differences, of which there are many. But yeah, so obviously my plates and my cutlery was getting accidentally used, and I didn't really want to say anything, but they kind of knew I was uncomfortable with it. But as I say, it was just they needed extra plates to prepare the big Christmas meal that they ate with my flatmate, of course, which I didn't eat because I don't eat traditional Christmas dinner. So I just had my mulligatawny soup afterwards, after my bowl was cleaned about 40 times. But yeah, I'm just not used to sharing my cups, my cutlery, because everything's my own. It has to be set in my own little way and separate, because that's just the way I am about people using my stuff, and it was just awkward for me. Even silly things, I don't want to be too gross, but even silly things like trying to go to the bathroom when people are in the house, my body just seizes up. I'd like, oh, how can I? There's people in the house, they're going to hear me, they're probably know that they're going to be sitting there with a glass at the door listening to my bodily movements, but in my head it's like my body just won't, my mind overpowers my body to such a point that it just doesn't function. So that caused me discomfort, as you can imagine. And so I wasn't eating very much. Sleeping wasn't too bad considering, but it's went right down now again. But I thought the only way I could escape the sort of stressful situations was to try and get myself out and about as much as I could. But that didn't do any good either, because there's idiots, drunk idiots, etc. And those idiot boy racer types that like to, not the good boy racers that just drive past with the nice cool cars, you know, I'm talking about the idiots that feel the need to shout stuff at the window at you for no reason. Just shout terrible stuff at random strangers. So I had that. I had bus drivers giving me the aggro because I chose to go the long way to Stirling instead of the quicker way, which I always do. And part of me thinks it's because of I have a concession card, you see, a bus pass, because of some of the health issues that I have. And I think a lot of drivers, some of them, not all of them, get a bee in their bonnet when I ask to go on the long route. Because I've even had one of them say to me before, I've even had a female driver years ago refuse to let me on a bus because I wanted to go home the long route, and she even held up my concession card in front of me and went, "You're taking advantage of this." And I'm like, no, because even when I've had to pay for buses, I choose to go the long route. And the next driver that gives me any aggro, I'm going to just say, look, if there's an issue because I have this pass, if you think I'm taking advantage or whatever, ask me to pay and I will pay to go the long route. I can't afford it, but if it's going to make me sit on the bus at ease without feeling awkward the whole journey, you know, because I think a driver that doesn't want me on the bloody bus. But that's that aside, that's a bit petty, but yeah, I had that. So like the only escape I felt I had over the festive season to get some wee bit of time to myself, because I had no time to myself in the house. I thought I'll go out, but that was just causing me as much stress, if not more. And it's like, I've been very stressed, not had any time to do any videos or any ASMR videos for my other channel, so I've got a ton of ideas that I need to catch up on with that as well. And I did plan to go and bring in the new year with the weekly test on Monday, but I woke up to it going off because my sleeping was all over the place, so I missed that. Friday though, I plan to get down because they seem to have, touch wood, I hope that it stays this way, but they seem to have got back on track with the weeklies. They've been good on the Mondays and the Fridays again, so I'm hoping to get a lot more of them filmed, try and get it filmed every week if I can from different vantage points, until a couple of weeks' time when I get to go back to Carstairs to film the Sirens. And this time we're going to make it, I don't know how we're going to do it, how early we're going to have to leave, or if we're going to have to drive across the bloody fields, but we'll get there, but yeah. But on the other note, I have a room tour video coming up very soon, because basically with a lot of emotional shit that was going on the past year, the past 2 years, but especially the past, well, a lot of stuff had happened the past year, and I'm a very tidy, clean person with my OCDs, but I'd let my room fall into a state of dismay, and I was ashamed when I eventually cleaned it last week before my flatmate's parents came. We cleaned the whole house up, and I was ashamed at the amount of dust and dirt off the floor and just clutter that came out of my room. I was ashamed of the state that I'd let it get in. But it's almost all back in order, and I've managed to finally get a wardrobe so I can get all my clothes sorted this week and washed and find out what's going where. And I've got the underneath of my bed sorted out as much as I can. And I've got little lights up all around my room, and a cool little light with a cloud and a lightning bolt coming out of it, because I'm the thunder child, so I wanted something to signify that. So I got that light from my room, which I'll show you in my room tour. So yeah, it's all sparkly and lit up, and so when that's finished next week I can get a video done with that. And yeah, I just thought I'd give a little update. Oh, one more shitty thing that happened. Now they say start the new year as you mean to go on, preferably on a high note, you know, celebrating with friends at a party, in the street festivals. I need a drink, hold on. You know, preferably bring it in with something positive, because that's how you mean to go on. Well, mine started off with a damp squib, quite literally, because I went to Stirling Castle. I knew they'd cancelled Edinburgh, but I went to Stirling Castle because their celebrations were going on for New Year. And I'm very thirsty. I had a KFC tonight. Lots of salt. I love salt in my food. Way too much of it, but yeah. My mouth is like the Sahara right now. But yeah, so we thought, usually the past few years I've went to Stirling Castle just in the car, not up into the crowds or at the party or anything, just stopped underneath it in the car to watch the fireworks and film it. Obviously the last year, because of COVID, couldn't do that. But this year I thought we'll go back, because Stirling's kept the celebrations on. So we goes there, goes under the castle, it gets to midnight. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, behind the castle, all you can see is the sky lighting up, flickering. And you're thinking, I mean, if you all saw my video a couple of years ago in 2019 when I was at Stirling Castle with the fireworks, you'll know what should have happened. It should have went off its head like Edinburgh usually does. But, so we waited there a couple of minutes. We weren't the only one. There was a lot of people had showed up in their cars and we're all standing under waiting on it. We all had our phones pointed and we were all looking at each other like, what's happening? So eventually we all moved, and the time we got round the corner, we only caught like 1.5 seconds of the fireworks display. It looked amazing. And I couldn't even get my phone up in time to film it. That's how much of it was left. We just missed it. Turns out they'd moved it up to Wallace Monument, and nobody knew. And that's behind the castle from the angle that we were stood at. So by the time we got round and past all the traffic and through the crowds of people, we were like, oh. So I was really disappointed because I'd been awkward and hiding myself away all week because my flatmate's parents were here. That was the one nice thing that I wanted to do to sort of bring us all together socially before they left on Sunday. I wanted to make that one nice thing for us all. And, nah, couldn't have it. Just like the siren test last month. Couldn't have it. So, that's not a good... I'm quite superstitious. That's not a good sign, is it? That this year's going to go well if it started off like that. My pardon. But, yeah, so I thought, do this update and... I will, I'll leave it there because my body's doing an Ineos right now. It's wanting to vent some gas. I'm gonna sound the bloody hormones. No, I'm gonna leave it there, guys, and I hope yous all had a nice Christmas, nice New Year. I made the most of it, but ultimately my mentality just is not there. And it seems that people just want to keep coming along and making it worse. Trying to steal what little I've got left mentality, but I'm trying to put a stop to that. But I'll not bore you guys with my negative Squidward-like mumbling anymore. I will see you all probably Friday, with any luck. If I can actually get myself up and down to Ineos for 11:45. Or 11:45, according to one of the security guards. That's one thing we can end the video on something funny. I went down there. We went down in the car a few weeks ago to try and film the test in the weekly, and one of the security guards has stopped us because we had to park in an actual workers' car park at the refinery. There was nowhere else to stop, and he came over and was like, "You alright?" And I was like, we're waiting for the sirens, but we can't hear them. He was like, oh, they go off at 11:45 on a Friday. You have to come if you want to hear them. Now, this was the Monday that we were there, and I felt like saying, I didn't say anything, but I was like, you're obviously, into myself I was saying, you've obviously not been here very long, have you? Or you're forgetful, because not only is it 11:45 that they go off, but it's a Monday and a Friday. It's not just Friday, and it's not 11:45. He was really nice though, you know, he's a really nice guy. He didn't chase us off or anything. He didn't even ask us to leave, but we just left. He was a nice guy, lovely guy, but I mean, he even told us when to come back for the sirens, although it was totally wrong. But yeah, lovely guy all the same. But I just thought it was quite funny. It was like, you work here, you're meant to keep the place protected and know everything about it, and you don't even know when the alarms go off. God forbid it was a real emergency when that guy's on duty. But like I say, he was a lovely guy all the same. But yeah, I thought I'd end it on that wee funny, if you want to call it that, story. I'm doing a lot of this lately, aren't I? So I'll say goodbye and I'll see you in the next video.